Aloha once again, friends and family. Who but God could grant free will? If we have free will, if we say we have free will, where does that come from? Where did that come from? But God, the obvious, the creator, source. And source created all these elements, both seen and unseen, because there's your first polarity. Seen and unseen, the polarity of visible and non-visible. With all these different elements, colors, spectrums, powers, he said, here, to you and I, to self. Take these elements that I have created, and you create whatever you want, because you have free will. So we, with this free will, have created everything. All the way from your physicality on up. And you may not consciously remember doing this. You may have forgotten how free will works. You may have come to believe all kinds of different things. That you got from someplace other than within yourself, within your center, within your heart, within your core. Bullets, shooting arrows, bullets, thoughts to your mind. From the external matrix. And we created this matrix. All of us. And subsequently, we created all the problems that it then facilitates. And the only reason it works and continues to work and could continue to work is if we continued to deny that Source gave us free will and said, here, use all that I have created to further create. And right here, right now, this is what we have created, however you perceive that to be. So now we're coming to realize then whatever your perception is that you just blanket the whole earth with is probably way off, because it's separated from reality. It's separated from the reality of how things manifest. It has separated love into fear. And then it convoluted both words so that little clarity could come to the lost human. Lost in his own creation. And then the ego part of man thinks, let's just smash the whole thing and start over. Because they, somebody, did this or that. As though at some point we withdrew our free will and we were no longer the creators, but other people were. And I guess their creations trumped ours, and we became subjects. That could only work if you agreed to do that. That could only work if you agreed to forget a lot of really fundamental things about how this reality functions in line with the cosmic laws emanating from the cosmic mind, and our human or man having become one with that cosmic mind, with that centeredness, with the heart fully open. And see, then you begin to transition into a different world. And what world is this? This world was also and is also created with the free will. And many men and women are creating it every second. But you would be persuaded to believe in some other world. I don't know how one would get persuaded once they found this place to go to that place. But I know there's many persuaders out there, and only if we give attention to these persuaders will we become persuaded that somehow we lost our free will. We lost what God gave us. Which is to say, we must have lost our connection to God altogether. Which is not possible in reality, but very possible mentally, emotionally, physically, if you have co-created an illusion and decided to live within that illusion, cut off from what is, cut off from the truth. Okay, the truth is we have everything. We have everything. How do we have everything? God gave us everything. If you don't like the word God, the Creator gave us everything. If you want to put it in now tense, Source gives us everything. Do we believe that? Do we know that? Are we thankful for that because we do know that? If we are, you have full access, my friend. Do whatever you want to do. Blessings. Because you can do it. What could stop that? Nothing. Because that's the way this place works in reality. But we have to get out of the illusion. And the illusion is manifesting through the mind. and not the cosmic mind, through the conscious mind. It's gone rogue. It's gone nuts. And you could easily go nuts with it if that's all we're using is our conscious mind, and we're constantly being bombarded from the external to be persuaded away from knowing and remembering something. Something. Put it in your own words. What is it? What are they trying to get you to forget? What are they trying to not let you remember? When you give ear to them. See, once you stop giving ear to them, then it'll just hit you mentally for a while. And then once you stop giving ear to it mentally, you will find your silence. And the still small voice begins to get louder. And it gets more powerful. And we get back, excuse me, in line with how free will operates. We remember that we have everything because we were given everything. And when we root into that deeply, and we're moving and thinking and being in that mindset, heart set, gut set all the time. Excuse me, I'm going to lose my voice. We're set at all times. And when those bullets and arrows and thoughts and all that stuff tries to, it does nothing. It's way off in the background. We don't entertain the thoughts, the doubts, the persuasions. If you could go anywhere in the universe permanently, where would you go? And would you go? Can we remember that wherever we would go would still be the present moment where we are, and however we create, however we make our world, however we have constructed our experience, we would do the very same there. So if that's true, then wherever you would go would be exactly like where you are. So to go there, you simply manifest here, manifest it here, manifest that world here, manifest that vision here, manifest that place of love, unity, and light here. Here where? Here in the now. Here in the now, which is wherever you would be bodily, no matter where it was, it would still be the here and now, and you would still be manifesting with these elements, those elements that Source, the Creator, gave us when He gave us free will and said, you be my eyes, you be my legs, you be my arms, you be the physicality that I am not. Setting up the first polarity, because every one of these elements of God has a polarity. Not an opposition, not a fight, not a hang up, not a trip, a polarity. And there's a center to each polarity, and that's where the element shines its brightest and manifests most powerfully. But see, we as these creators, these co-creators with free will, we're learning how to create everything we create with these polaric elements and be able to hold each layer of those elements in their balanced, centered position and not be too far right or too far left, thus putting a slight imbalance on that whole layer, which runs through the entire framework. We've thought of some other world and we call it their world. But we haven't had our world. We believe nothing, know nothing about our world. Because we so distracted again and convinced about their world, and their world is some outer world that's out there someplace. And we give life to it through every thought about it, thus manifesting it. Let's remember our world. Again, the world that Source gave us to create. Didn't give us. He didn't give us a world in that sense. He gave us all the elements, and he said, you guys create everything. Everything. Your bodies, you're able to anything in physicality, anything in the third dimension and beyond. You have authority over the elements. You have authority over all the elements. Whatever you want to do. And you're already doing that. We've already been doing that. But we were completely asleep or completely in the conscious mind, separated from the knowing, from the remembrance, and distracted, and allowing ourselves to be distracted. Maybe we don't want to remember this. Maybe we don't want to admit that where we are in our life is exactly where we co-created ourselves to be. And maybe we see that as, excuse me, lacking somehow. See, stop judging yourself. Start singing. And remember, And if it is lacking and you truly feel that way in your heart and you've examined it from your heart and you're just not just off in your emotions in your head, then perfect, because you have free will. So you can do anything you want about that. And the only limitations come from where? Doubt is a big one. Doubt. Boy, we need to sit in doubt for a long time. Go sit in doubt. And while you're sitting in doubt, examine all parts of yourself. How do you feel when you're sitting in doubt? What kind of thoughts go through your head when you're sitting in doubt? What appears to manifest or not manifest when sitting in doubt? What places within a human psyche could doubt lurk and try to hide? Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck in doubt. But don't be afraid of anything. Anything. Fear. Go sit in fear for a while. Sink deep into it. And examine and look around. And then, sing your way out. The sun will come out tomorrow. Chase away the sorrow. They've got some really convincing illusions out there. All around out there. Convincing illusions. So you justify the doubts. You say, well, it's okay to doubt the power of free will that God has given me through Source. I'll just entertain it for a second or a couple minutes. But see, you let it in. It got in. Now you're not thinking about it no more. Why not? Because you let it in. It's already in. You are holding it. You're containing it. You got to learn how to guard your mind, heart, and gut like a soldier. Not that's getting ready to have some traumatic event. Maybe a sentinel. Guard it like a sentinel. Don't let any of that stuff in. Don't entertain it. And even like if you hear it, you may still hear it because it may still be around you. So it's not like you can, not hear audible tripe coming from a TV that's blaring, right? So you're going to hear it. but you're not letting it in. You're not entertaining it. See, that's how they get you. They're like, ooh, this is interesting. What is this? And then they lure you in with that, oh, this could be interesting. And the next thing you know, it got in. And what was it that got in? Probably doubt, possibly fear, and a host of other things. Because that's how it works. That's how that illusion works. Come back to reality. The real world never went anywhere. The real world never ceased being the real world. We simply went into an illusion and got stuck. Many of our parts. We're all one. We're not all one in the same, but we're all one. One mankind. Okay, so every part of that mankind is part of the whole mankind. That is one man, if you will. One cosmic mind. And we're all drawing from the subconscious of that cosmic mind to create, co-create everything. Together, we do this. So anytime we're separating, we're screwing up, because this is a whole thing. Man is a whole thing. We could get into the, hybrid. There's hybrids and all that. Okay, fine. But with that, in the spirit of this, that would just be a distraction. Because again, we're trying to root and ground in to remembering. We remember that Source created all the elements and then gave them to us and said, you go co-create, be fruitful, and multiply the earth. See, they tried to narrow it down at that moment in the context that's given, that's the first time man had any dealings with God, when God told them to be fruitful and go multiply in the earth, as though God was some kind of a God over the fleshly portion of man. But see, we, the co-creators, were already given all the elements to bring into manifestation all the different kinds and everything that, the Matrix says has evolved over billions of years. And fine, okay, to some degree that's true. Yes, things evolve, things carry forward, things move. That's all that happens. Things move and things change. Things move and change. And they will continue to move and change. And the changes in those movements are going to be decided by you. You who? You, God. You have free will. Oops, did I say it wrong? Oops. God, you, man. You have all the elements that the Creator created and gave to you and said, now create. And we've been doing great. I mean, we've done a great, wonderful thing here. I mean, I don't know how it always ends up trying to be negative somehow, but we've done a great, marvelous thing. You, all of us as one. And then we have had an episode, where we forgot a lot of this and went into our conscious mind and consciously said, well, let me try to deviate. Let me separate myself. Let God separate himself from himself. And then we get this real slippery slope that creates an ego within that man. And that ego within that man is that separated portion, now called a human. He has become a human. Seeing himself, believing himself somehow separatable from God, from Source, from the Creator. Now we can all clearly see that that's an impossibility. But tell that to the ego. Tell that to an egoic human. They won't comprehend hide nor hair of it. And therefore we say it is hidden in plain sight. So this world that we would have went to, this heaven that we would have went to, this paradise that we would go to is right here. You have access to it, and you create it, and can create it, and do create it. Remember that. Remember that, and then you'll start forgetting all the beliefs, all the doubts, all the fears, all the contrary information.